The following are snow totals from the National Weather Service in regards to the January 18th, 2023 to January 19th, 2023 snowfall accumulations of the Midwest, of Nebraska, especially Nebraska and Iowa. Before we get to Nebraska, we have 4 cities outside of that area which saw unbelievable snow. 1 mile southeast of Wolf Creek Pass, Colorado, 52 inches of snow reported 7:01 a.m., January 18th, 2023. 7 miles west of Crested Butte, Colorado, 48 inches of snow. Pinon, Arizona, Pinon, 40 inches of snow reported at midnight, January 18th, Central Standard Time. 4 miles north-northeast of Mount Baldy, California, 24 inches of snow that was reported at 8 o'clock p.m., January 18th. Now we head on to the Midwest. Nebraska, 6 miles west of Myrna, Nebraska, 23.7 inches, 9 o'clock p.m. 11 miles northeast of Callaway, Nebraska, 23 inches, 6:50 p.m. That's on the 18th. 8 miles north of Myrna, Nebraska, 23 inches. This information comes from the National Weather Service. 9 o'clock a.m., January 19th, a report of 22.5 inches was northeast of Myrna, Nebraska. 5 miles west of Myrna, Nebraska, 22 inches. That's 6 o'clock p.m. on the 18th. 9 miles northwest of Anselmo, Nebraska, 22 inches. Ansley, Nebraska, Ansley, 20 inches. That was taken at 3:54 p.m., January 19th. Thedford, Nebraska, 20 inches, 5:55 p.m. on the 19th. Broken Bow, Nebraska, 19 inches. That's at January 18th, 6:50 p.m. 8 miles west-southwest of Callaway, Nebraska, 19 inches. 5 miles west of Stapleton, Nebraska, 18 inches. 2 miles east, Gates, Nebraska, 18 inches. 11 miles southeast of Harrisburg, Nebraska, 18 inches. Litchfield, Nebraska, 17.5 inches. Callaway, Nebraska, 17.5 inches. Hazard, Nebraska, 17.3 inches. 2 miles west of Litchfield, Nebraska, 17 inches. The following cities all saw 17 inches, 1 mile north of Pleasanton, Nebraska, 5 miles west-southwest of Stapleton, Nebraska, and Lexington, Nebraska, 17 inches. Bulwell, Nebraska, 16 inches, 3 miles southeast of Ravenna, Nebraska, 16 inches. The following cities also saw 16 inches, 8 miles west-southwest of Callaway, Nebraska, and Chapel, Nebraska, 16 inches. The following cities saw 15.5 inches, Answorth and Acanto, Nebraska. The following 3 cities saw 15 inches, 6 miles west of North Loop, 5 miles east of Stoner, Colorado. North Loop is in Nebraska, Stoner's in Colorado, 1 mile north-northwest of Monarch Pass, Colorado. Following cities are all in Nebraska. The following 3 cities are in Nebraska, and they all saw 14.5 inches, 5 miles east of ORD, Bertrand, Nebraska, and 14 miles west of Taylor, Nebraska. The following cities in New Mexico, they saw also 14.5 inches, 4 miles north of Battleship Rock, New Mexico. Ord, Nebraska, ORD, 14 inches. A lot of cities saw 14 inches. The following cities are all in Nebraska, and they all saw 14 inches. 1 mile northwest of Ravenna, Nebraska, 5 miles north-northwest of Wood River, Nebraska. Arnold, Nebraska, 6 miles north of Kosser, Nebraska, 12 miles east-southeast of Stocksville, Nebraska. Paxton, Nebraska, 16 miles southwest of Mullen, Nebraska. Total of 8 reports of 14 inches. Following places saw very close to 14 inches. 3 miles east of North Platte, Nebraska, 13.9 inches. Sutherland, Nebraska, 13.7 inches. Wood River, Nebraska, and 3 miles north of Overton, Nebraska, and 5 miles north of Hartwell, Nebraska, and 3 miles southeast of Prosser, Nebraska, and 1 mile north-northeast of Arnold, Michigan, also 13.5 inches. Blue Hill, Nebraska, 13.4 inches. The following 10 cities or more saw 13 inches. 2 miles west of Arcadia, Nebraska, 8 miles south-southwest of Elwood, Nebraska, 7 miles south-southeast of Lexington, Nebraska, Overton, Nebraska, Loomis, Nebraska, Halsey, Nebraska, North Platte, Nebraska, Kennesaw, Nebraska, Juniata, Nebraska, and Nahama Junction, Michigan. All those cities saw 13 inches of snow from the 18th to the 19th snowstorm of 2023. 3 miles northwest of Manistooc, Michigan, 12.9 inches. 5 miles northeast of Negaunee, Michigan, 12.5 inches. 2 miles west of Pontka, Nebraska, 12.5 inches. 5 miles south of Manila Village, Colorado, 12.5 inches. 6 miles south of Steuben, Michigan, Steuben, 12.3 inches. 1 mile southeast of Sands, Michigan, 12.2 inches. 6 miles southeast of Forest Lake, Michigan, 12.2 inches. 3 miles west of Riverdale, Nebraska, 12 inches. The following 10 cities or so saw also 12 inches. Millboro, South Dakota, 18 miles south-southeast of Oak Creek, South Dakota, 1 mile east-northeast of Millboro, South Dakota, Springview, Nebraska, 12 miles northwest of Ainsworth, Nebraska, 2 miles south-southeast of Willow Island, Nebraska, 5 miles south of Hershey, Nebraska, Ogallala, Nebraska, Grant, Nebraska, 1 mile northwest of Sidney, Nebraska, 2 miles west of Juniata, Nebraska, 2 miles north of Pauline, Nebraska, Roseland, Nebraska, Air, Nebraska, Cordis, Michigan. All these cities saw 12 inches. Continuing with the 12 inches, it looks like we have more like 20 cities that saw 12 inches, 1 foot of snow. 9 miles west of Granite Island, Michigan, 3 miles northwest of Little Lake, Michigan, 5 miles southwest of Beaver City, Nebraska, 1 mile east of Cambridge, Nebraska, Vernon, Colorado, 2 miles southwest of Burns, Wyoming, 9 miles northeast of Ponderosa Park, Colorado, Elizabeth, Colorado, 6 miles east of Skyway, Colorado, 3 miles east of Lyman, Nebraska, 3 miles northwest of some place in Utah, 7 miles northeast of Salt Pit, Colorado, 9 miles east of Cuba, New Mexico, Arizona Snow Bowl Ski Resort, 12 inches, 9 miles west-southwest of Blue Water Lake Street in New Mexico, 12 inches, Soda Springs, California, 12 inches, 2 miles east of Lake Spalding, Colorado, 12 inches. 1 mile east of Bloomfield, Nebraska, 11.9 inches. 1 mile northwest of Garden Corners, Michigan, 11.8 inches. 7 miles east-northeast of Garden, Michigan, 11.8 inches. Bartley, Nebraska, 11.8. 1 mile west of North Platte, Nebraska, 11.7. 4 miles north of North Platte, Nebraska, 11.5. The following places also saw 11.5. 10 miles northeast of Oshkosh, Nebraska. 1 mile east of Holdridge, Nebraska. 1 mile southwest of Newberry, Michigan. 19 miles north of Parks, Nebraska, 11.5 inches. 9 miles southeast of Big Bay, Michigan, 11.3 inches. And 4 miles northwest of Little Lake, Michigan, also 11.3 inches. 1 mile northwest of Hastings, Nebraska, 11.2 inches. 1 mile southeast of Hazelhurst, Wisconsin, 11.2 inches. Looks like that's the highest reading for Wisconsin, is 11.2 inches in Hazelhurst, Wisconsin. 7 miles northwest of Rockwood, Colorado, 11.1 inches. Loop City, Nebraska, 11 inches. 7 miles west-northwest of Greeley, Nebraska, 11 inches. Wood River, Nebraska, 11 inches. 14 miles north of Stuart, Nebraska, 11 inches. 5 miles north of Burton, Nebraska, 11 inches. Wewalla, South Dakota, 11 inches. That's the highest in South Dakota, 11 inches. 9 miles east-northeast of Wewella, South Dakota, Wewela. Kinross, Michigan, 11 inches. Brimley, Michigan, 11 inches. 2 miles east-southeast of Hulbert, Michigan, 11 inches. Fibre, Fibre, Michigan, 11 inches. 2 miles west-southwest of Washburn, Wisconsin, 11 inches. 2 miles north of Moquah, Wisconsin, Moquah, 11 inches. 2 miles west of Palmer, Nebraska, 11 inches. 2 miles east-northeast of Crofton, Nebraska, 11 inches. Arapahoe, Arapahoe, Nebraska, 11 inches. 1 mile south-southwest of McCook, Nebraska, 11 inches. McCook, Nebraska, 11 inches. 6 miles north of Ludlow, Kansas, 11 inches. 3 miles south-southeast of Aurora, Colorado, 11 inches. 4 miles south of Arapahoe Park, Colorado, 11 inches. Veteran, Wyoming, 11 inches. Looks like that's the highest in Wyoming. Was in Veteran, Wyoming, 11 inches. 7 miles southeast of Moab, Utah, 11 inches. 12 miles southeast of Coyote, New Mexico, 11 inches. 7 miles east of Chupadiro, New Mexico, 11 inches. 1 mile northwest of Bright Angel Point, Arizona, 11 inches. 6 miles west of Los Alamos, New Mexico, 11 inches. Hastings National Weather Service Office, Nebraska, 10.8 inches. 3 miles southwest of Hanson, Nebraska, 10.6 inches. 3 miles southwest of Atkinson, Nebraska, 10.5 inches. The following places also 10.5 inches, about 5, 6, 7 places. 1 mile east of Holyoke, Colorado, Iliff, Colorado, Hastings, Nebraska, McFarland's, Michigan, Escanaba, Michigan, 3 miles southwest of Hubbard, Nebraska, Crofton, Nebraska, Pagosa Springs, Colorado. Following place saw 10.4 inches, 2 miles south of Newberry, Michigan. 10.3 inches for the following 5 places or so: 1 mile southwest of Gibbon, Nebraska, 9 miles northwest of Oshkosh, Nebraska, 7 miles south of Vertle, Nebraska, 3 miles east of Pennock Pass, Colorado, 6 miles west-northwest of Bordeaux, Wyoming. 10.2 inches was reported in 3 miles east-northeast of North Platte, Nebraska. Also in Nora Springs, Iowa, 10.2 inches. Is that the first Iowa? 10.2 inches. 3 miles northeast of Kearney, Nebraska, 10.1 inches. Munising, Michigan, 10.1 inches. 3 miles west of Burwell, Nebraska, 10 inches. We have a lot of cities that saw 10 inches. Probably about 20 cities. We're going to read them off right now. Grand Island Airport, Nebraska. Lodgepole, Nebraska. Hastings, Nebraska. 1 mile east of Hastings, Nebraska. 4 miles east of Scotia, Nebraska. 1 mile southeast of Hastings, Nebraska. Holdridge, Nebraska. Paradise, Michigan. 7 miles east of Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. 4 miles northwest of Sands, Michigan. 1 mile southwest of Gladstone, Michigan. Segola, Michigan. Alexander, Iowa, 5 miles south of Mason City, Iowa, 4 miles southeast of Bloomfield, Nebraska. Crichton, Nebraska, 4 miles southwest of Arthur, Iowa. Yankton, South Dakota, 2 miles east-southeast of Yankton, South Dakota. Vermilion, South Dakota. Red Cloud, Nebraska, 1 mile southeast of Wilsonville, Nebraska. Again, these are all places that saw 10 inches. We're going to continue with the 10 inches. McCook, Nebraska, 10 inches, 10 miles south of Cope, Colorado. Hillsdale, Wyoming, Kiola, Colorado, Elizabeth, Colorado, Castle Rock, Colorado, Moab, Utah, Chamois, New Mexico, Rosiada, New Mexico, Soda Springs, California, Truckee, California, Messervey, Iowa, 9.8 inches, Webster City, Iowa, 9.8 inches, 4 miles west-southwest of Windsor, Colorado, 9.8 inches. 3 miles east-northeast of Ensenada, New Mexico, 9.8 inches. 1 mile south-southwest of Marquette, Michigan, Marquette, 9.7 inches. 1 mile west-southwest of Marquette, Michigan, 9.7 inches. Those, Iowa, 9